Okay, so my type B girlies that love to travel and are thinking about doing exchange, stick around for this one because this is for you. I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know before you go on exchange because for me, when I was in uni, all I thought about was just how much fun I was going to have on exchange, what my IG was going to look like, all the trips I was going to take. But there's a lot that goes into going in on exchange, and unfortunately we cannot just take a flight and be at our host institution. So I'm going to break down everything from what to know before, what you have to fill out, what you have to go through, and I'm going to be talking from my specific experience. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Ashley, and I did exchange at this time last year, and I never really got over it. So I share lots of traveling, lots of wellness, and post-grad life. So if you want to stick around for more tips, feel free, and let's get into what you need to know before you go on exchange. I have my entire notebook with everything I wish I knew. So we're going to start off by how to actually choose what school you're going to go to. Well, I'll start by saying it varies from school, by faculty, what you're doing the exchange for, whether it's for a summer semester, whether you want to go for the whole year, whether it's for a working thing, whether it's just to study abroad. So when you're first choosing your school, it's really going to come down to what you're studying, when you're studying, what the purpose of the exchange is. For me, I was looking to go for one semester at the end of my uni career. It can even come down to how long you want to go and what semester you want to go for. My options were a little bit limited with the one semester. If you want to go for a full year, you might have different options. So it really depends. But my recommendation, quite honestly, would be if you're in a program that has electives, bank as many as you can for your exchange and save it to the end. I'm really happy with how I did that, to be quite honest with you, because I didn't have to look at getting a total equivalence to what it was at my home institution that I needed. I could really just choose what courses felt interesting to me and go from there. So you're going to have to look at what your school requires, what your internship requires before making that choice. And that's going to kind of narrow down what you're able to choose from. And once I had that list in my head and based on my school's requirements as to what my exchange needed to look like and what boxes it needed to check, I was actually pretty set on Milan. And as I said in the beginning, I went to Portugal, so obviously that didn't happen. And I would encourage you to think about what you're doing the exchange for. Obviously, if you're clicking on the video, you're looking to do an exchange. You just got to think about what you want to get out of it. So obviously my goal was to travel, and I'm going to guess that's probably your goal as well, to travel. But if that is priority number one, you're going to want to choose different destinations than someone like me, who eventually kind of realized that they just wanted to take this semester to slow down. I went to school in a decently big city, and I really wanted to go to Milan, which is another pretty big city. And I kind of realized that, yeah, that was not really what I wanted, and it changed. I had been wanting to do an exchange since my first year of uni, and 3 years later, that choice was completely different. I was looking for time to slow down. I went to Porto, and my school was right by the water, which I really valued, just that pace of life, that ability to slow down and just enjoy my last semester. So I did obviously travel, but it wasn't as much of a priority for me as I thought. And as I went on my exchange, it became even less of a priority. So think about what you want. You could be looking for a school that is very academically rigorous, or you can build some good connections from. There's so many different reasons as to why you want to go on exchange, and your partner institutions and your destination are definitely going to dictate that. I think by going to Portugal, I was able to slow down quite a bit, take my time with things, just appreciate my days there a little bit more, slow down, and really reset before coming back into the workforce. Story for another day. Yeah, definitely if there's a specific culture you want to explore, that's definitely worth exploring. But in short, basically look at your requirements, look at what your options are based on when you're going to do the exchange, what you're doing the exchange for, your faculty, your partner institutions. And from that list, just think about what you're in it for, what you want out of your exchange, if you're going to slow down, if you're going to travel, if there's a specific culture you really want to explore, a language you really want to learn, that's also a great reason to go. And maybe it's just, I say just for academics, please, it's important, but we all know what we're going on exchange for. That's how you're going to choose your uni, basically. So for admin, this is going to be a big topic. And I say this because it is a process. I got my admission in March. I submitted my documents. I waited and waited and waited. And October rolled around. My host uni finally got in contact with me. And I was basically doing admin from October to January. That is how long everything took to get me settled. And then I was finally able to leave by February. So if you're planning to do exchange somewhere like Europe, you are most likely going to have to fill out the learning agreement, the lovely learning agreement, which is basically your host institution, you, and your home institution agreeing that yes, the courses that you're going to choose fit your requirements for your academics, and that you're able to get in, that all the credits are correct, everything like that. Both institutions have to sign off on this, and they do. My institution gave me a week to do it. So it was very time sensitive, very quick, very fast. They'll give you, in my experience, they give you a list of courses, how many credits it is. And for me, I had entirely electives, so I had free reign on what I was able to choose. I would obviously, if you're going to a country that doesn't speak English or English isn't the primary language, I would highly encourage you to take a course in that language, not only because it is a super valuable skill, but because my Portuguese teacher was awesome. I made lots of friends in that class. They were very understanding that you're on exchange, so we got some awesome recs. You kind of got some people in the same boat as you, so I would suggest taking a course like that if that is available to you. So the learning agreement, and you might have some contracts or registration things to fill out for the school, so you're going to want to get ahead of that and get that together. But that is honestly just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to exchange. In between then, there is going to be so many things you need to fill out. You need to make sure you have your banking information and bank statements, or if you're not from the EU and do not hold an EU passport, or it can apply to anywhere you're really going for exchange, you need to check if you need a visa, and if you do, make sure to apply for that. So when you're applying for a visa, you're going to need your banking information and bank statements, so make sure to have that available. Make sure you have the correct amount of money in your bank account, because a lot of places will ask you to have X amount of dollars so that they know you're going to be able to survive in their country while you're staying there for school. So have that information available. Obviously, you're going to need your passport, some passport photos, criminal record checks. You're going to need insurance, accommodation. There's so many things to think about just for that visa. Also, you might need to find some accommodation in that process, which I will get to, but make sure that you are staying on top of those applications and your admin work. Check your requirements, check what's required with the school, the country. You can ask your host institution. Your school is probably going to have someone specifically dedicated as a representative for exchange, so be sure to check in with them. There's probably going to be seminars. Just make sure you're very clear on what needs to be done admin-wise to have a successful exchange. So I did talk about the admin piece, but I am also just going to go a little bit more in depth into the accommodation piece, because that is a huge thing, and I felt like accommodation was just so huge for me, especially because I was not lucky enough to go to an institution with a residence or dorms or anything like that. So I would say that's probably going to be your easiest option. Check in to see if you do have some sort of residence or somewhere to stay on the campus that you're at, because that's going to make your life 10 times easier when it comes to accommodation. You are most likely going to get a room and a bathroom and a mini fridge, maybe a kitchenette. That's probably going to be the extent of it, but that's honestly exchange student core. It's exchange student core. Staying on someone's air mattress in their studio apartment is all a part of the experience. So that's basically the standard and probably what you would expect. You might have roommates. There's definitely different scenarios. So check in to see if your school does provide accommodation, but if you're like me and your host institution does not, I would definitely look at some local sites. Please use some online safety and some critical thinking in this, because that is going to be your best bet. Do not get scammed. Do not give anyone money before you've seen the place. I know a lot of websites like uni places. Do not give uni places your money. Do not give Idealista your money until you've seen the place. I'll put some websites here because there are a couple. Just, they're gonna ask you to put down a deposit. Try not to do that. I would honestly recommend, if you are finding a place for yourself, to get an Airbnb for a week, 2 weeks. I ended up getting 3 days because I was like, I gotta go. But please be sure to see the places, you've met the people, and make sure you're all good before you give anyone your money, because they will ask for some steep deposits. No, cheese. My cat is literally like right beside my like tripod. No, I need to show you what cheese is doing. Okay, back to regularly scheduled programming. I will tell you exactly what I did. I booked an Airbnb for 3 days. I would probably give yourself a week or 2 weeks, maybe even a month, to get settled into the new country, get oriented, and find a place to live. I know I'm contradicting myself a little bit when I say just get an Airbnb, because they're gonna want to see a place to stay when you get your visa. So at least have a reservation or something like that. Just prove that you do have full intentions to stay for 6 months, 4 months, however long you're gonna stay. You can cancel it, you can do whatever you need to do, just as long as you have a reservation that you can hopefully cancel or get your money back. Got an Airbnb for 3 days. I gave myself 3 days to try to find something, try to make something work. I was gonna go look at this place. I was almost ready to pull the trigger. There's something in me that was like, okay, I don't feel right about this. Let me go see this other place that was cheaper. It was by the water. It was like the perfect place. It was so ideal. Like, I might be doxing myself here, but I will literally show you the screenshot that was like from before I went on exchange. Like, I just had this in my mind. Whatever. I went to go look at it. It was absolutely perfect. It was this woman's showing it to me. I was like, cool. Where do I sign? Where do I sign? What deposit do you want? Take my money. So I went in the next day. I signed off on it. I met his mom, my landlord. She's the best. I love her to death. She was the most important part of my exchange. So long story short, just use your instincts, be safe, be cautious. And I would recommend going local if you can, just renting from a local. I think it was the perfect scenario because I really did get to experience things differently than I would have if I had rented from the school and have been surrounded by exchange students. I had someone to show me around. I had someone to kind of show me the good shops. If I needed a ride, I had a ride. So I would definitely recommend. And also, you're supporting their economy, you're supporting a local, which I definitely would recommend over supporting a corporation. I'm gonna go into the culture shock of it all because I thought I was immune. I thought I knew what I was getting into. I have moved alone before. I was like, I can do it again easily. But anytime you move, it is such an anxiety driving experience. I found just being in a new place, having to figure things out for yourself, having to do all the things, it's scary. It is scary. And you're adjusting to a new culture, a new place, you're away from family. And I kind of want to acknowledge that that is a very scary and anxiety inducing experience. And I definitely don't take that lightly. So take all the time that you need. Do not feel bad if for the first like week or two, you really just are staying inside and you're like, oh no, and the only thing you can do is literally just go for walks, because that was me. I had forced myself to go to a few different events my first few days, and I would feel kind of bad if I sat inside and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I can't go out, I don't know what to do, I don't know. You're gonna feel that way 100%, and I totally recommend just going to some social events. You're gonna have some exchange student networks and meet some people that are willing to hang out with you and do the thing together, because I found in between, you know, hanging out with neighbors, hanging out with my local people, and hanging out with my exchange students, I was able to see the most, because for people that live there, sometimes it's just like, okay, I don't really want to go do this thing that I've seen 500,000 times. So your exchange student friends are kind of nice to go do those touristy things with. You get some good spots, some good recs from local people. So definitely keep your network in mind. People are a lot more open to helping than you think, at least in my experience in Portugal. Everyone was so willing to help, so willing to tell me all the good places to go, even take me there. So honestly, just give yourself some grace if you're moving to a new place and you're feeling a little anxious, a little shy, and just feeling the culture shock, because it's probably going to be very different than what you're used to. And I found that for sure. I got culture shock quite a few times, even just traveling when I was on exchange. So just give yourself some grace. Remind yourself that you're here to explore, you're here to learn, but you have so much time to do that. You have probably months to do that if you're going for a semester abroad. So don't feel like everything has to click right away. Don't feel like everything needs to be perfect right away, because it's not gonna be. You're gonna need to take some time to adjust, and it took me a good probably month to get into a good routine where I was leaving the house every single day. So please keep that in mind, because I definitely needed that reminder, because I did beat myself up a lot for it. And the last thing I will get into that I touched on a little bit here was the social aspect of things, because making friends in new places is hard. You're essentially starting from ground zero. So I would definitely recommend putting yourself in spaces where you need to be social. I mentioned before, there's gonna probably be an Erasmus student network if you're somewhere in Europe where they're probably speaking English, whether however good it is, they're probably speaking English. Get yourself involved in a gym, in a running club, whatever it is. Put yourself out there to make some friends. Even just ask people for coffee, hang out at the cafes. There's probably going to be people to talk to. So the social part of it is probably going to be a lot easier than you think. All right, so those were my tips on going on exchange and everything you need to know before you go and everything you need to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. I'm always open to hearing them. I will make lots more videos on traveling, exchange, everything like that. So stick around, subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one.